Canes are in camp. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, covering Miami football. And of course, you can join us each and every day for college football coverage like no one else. Best discussion, debate, and analysis right here. So smash that like button, comment on the video, share them, and subscribe as well. We got Dylan Sherry on the line from State of the U. Dylan, how you doing today?
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. We appreciate you stopping by. And you do work there at the State of the U. And how's that going?
I love it, honestly. I've always followed the page on Twitter and Cam on Twitter, and it's really always been a dream, really, as this, Miami super fan, the Miami super fan that I am. So it's about a year since I first started, so I'm loving it.
I was going to say, you've got to put up with that Cam Underwood guy. Unfortunately, I do as well. But I guess there's a good side to that as well. Wink, wink. Yeah. Cam knows we love him. The Miami quarterback position battle, of course, is hot and heavy and at the forefront and the main storyline during the offseason with three very talented but unproven players. Before we get to that in particular and where we stand, Cade Weldon transferred out of the program recently. And Dylan, I know that you've covered Cade. You've looked into his skill set and have some thoughts regarding what he may bring to the table for another program.
I think that Cade brings really good physicality. I think Cam said it actually. He was saying that he likes the Cade Weldon mentality of I'm just going to run you over when he's scrambling. And so I feel like just based on that alone, he will have some success just on physicality. And I remember before the 2018 season, people were looking at him and saying, hey, he's throwing the ball a lot better. So I know he was developing decently. And then I think he had a spring scrimmage where he threw 4 or 5 interceptions in it, so it was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you're not in the race anymore. But I do know that he was progressing, and so I think he could bring a lot to a, say G5 team looking for a quarterback, just because mobility is so important, and he definitely has that side to him. So I feel like he has, he's just when you have Tate Martell, Jarren Williams, N'Kosi Perry, these 4/5-star recruits, it's really tough to break through, of course. I mean, even for those 3 guys. So I do understand why, transferring may have been the best option for him. And, we all wish him the best. But yeah, I do think he has a lot to offer for another team.
Cade Weldon does have the prototypical size at 6'3", 212 pounds. If you're looking for game tape, you better have the Savannah State and FIU games handy. 2 for 3 for 14 yards. So not a lot of game tape out there. Obviously, as you had referred to, Dylan, the performance in spring and against the number 1, 2, or 3 defense didn't bode well in certain spots for him. And, of course, the competition, again, very much on the high end with 3 inexperienced but very talented players.
Right.
Got Dylan Cherry on the line from State of the U talking Miami football. And, of course, let's go quarterback. But we've talked a lot of quarterback, as we had mentioned. Dylan, Jarren Williams is a guy that you've kind of researched, really studied, and done some analysis on. So this is a kid that probably less is known, at least outside the Miami community fan base, versus Tate Martell, since he got on the field at Ohio State, and that being a marquee program. People know about Tate Martell. They know a little bit about N'Kosi Perry, obviously, who split time with Malik Rozier last year, but probably a little lesser known about Jarren Williams. But you can kind of uncover his skill set for us.
Yeah, I remember before 2018, I wrote an article saying that he was somewhat of a dark horse to win the quarterback race between Perry and Rozier. And so I remember also Mark Richt saying that he had, I think, the best arm strength. He was one of the best throwers on the team, even in 2018, the year he redshirted. So I think that we're seeing, even though he doesn't have much experience, which I put in my articles, like I think it was 1 completion last year or too. But it's even despite his inexperience, I think we can start to see the arc of where he's going and how he's developing with his arm strength, with his running ability, just with his pocket presence. And I mean, Dan Eno said it himself that all three, candidates are still working on fundamentals, and they're still learning a new system. But I think that benefits Jarren because I mean I feel like Malik Rozier and N'Kosi Perry were biased. Mark Richt was more biased to them because they knew the playbook more than him. Like Jarren did get there later. So I feel like now with a blank slate, Jarren really has a chance to win the starting job, really. And I mean, if he's throwing the ball the best, I mean, may the best man win, right? There's no, even though he's not making the headlines or doesn't have the experience, if he's throwing the ball the best, you got to look at the facts, right?
If you could put them all together, Dylan, of course, you'd probably have a near perfect quarterback because they were all so highly touted.
Right.
N'Kosi Perry is the only guy that we've really seen on the field during meaningful minutes. Tate Martell jumped into like a Rutgers game when it was 56-7 and
Yeah.
had those kind of moments, and also saw some playing time in the red zone, but it was strictly you're going to catch the snap and pick your hole and run the wildcat and look for the opening because he's a good runner, and really didn't show off his passing ability. So based on what you know out of these three guys in regards to the pluses and minuses and the various skill sets, arm talent, in regards to running ability, all those things taken into consideration, I'm not going to hold you to this because you got to see them actually play. But based on the skill sets and what you know and what you've heard, who would you think might emerge, or who would have the highest ceiling that if they could reach that potential, grasp the playbook, show the leadership skills required, might be the best guy potentially? Is that a tough one? I'm going to make you feel better, Dylan, because I asked the same question to Cam Underwood, and he froze as well, and he never freezes.
God, I would say maybe Tate Martell, just because he has that that Johnny football kind of mentality. He really embraces the let's be jerks, mindset. And I feel like he would really just be able to rile up. I mean, he already has, but just really rile up the fan base more than he already has, of course. And really just embody, Miami football. We're gonna, we're just stomp on you. And so I feel like I do love that Miami, like, even though he's not I mean, he's from Ohio State, like he's not like Diaz, born and raised, father was a mayor of Miami, nothing like that. But he just has that swagger, that moxie. And so I feel like if he really develops, and obviously I want the best man to win, the best quarterback to win, just because he has the hype and the attitude doesn't mean he should win. But I feel like if he is, I feel like he really has the potential to be that star, that quarterback star that Miami hasn't had for, over a decade now. So I really feel like his ceiling could be the highest.
We've got Miami football talk on the line with Dylan Sherry from State of the U. Please join him, Cam Underwood, and the rest of the crew right there at State of the U. And of course, Dylan, we're about 7 to 8 practices into it. College football fans are starving at this point, trying to grab any little morsel of news that comes out from time to time. I know that you guys go out to the practices, as I used to, in the SEC, and you can only see 10 or 15 minutes. Then you're dragged off the field, and that's pretty much you see the guys stretch, toss the ball around a little bit, and it's not a whole lot of tangible evidence. And pretty much the most important tangible result of any of the practices thus far is that we know that Brevin Jordan's a bit hobbled up based on a knee injury after catching 32 passes and 4 touchdowns last year. Anything else out of a spring practice? And what do we know about Brevin Jordan? Anything in addition to that?
I saw Brevin's report circle around last night, actually, and I didn't necessarily believe it because I saw some people saying it was a rumor. But today he was out of practice. and it doesn't seem to be serious. They haven't confirmed that it was, anything major. So, I just hope it's something that doesn't hinder him, isn't a lingering injury. But rather than that, I haven't heard much else injury wise. One of the surprises, for me at least, was how well Nesta Silvera was playing. And I mean, a great recruit, coming out of that class. And he's just really got people focused on him. And, with Gerald Willis, leaving, and the D line being a little depleted before, the transfers came in. Silvera, he could instantly be a starter, in my opinion, if he keeps, just being a beast in practice. I don't see why not. So he can be a great piece to step up for the new face of the defense.
Dylan, we appreciate the football talk. You're welcome here at Mark Rogers TV, and we hope you have a great day. And again, thanks so much for stopping by.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.